Welcome to Visual Dressage. This video is the Transitions tutorial. Transitions. Visual dressage uses a type of sequence called a transition to change from one pace to another. To demonstrate how transitions work, let's create a path followed by a transition followed by another path. All blank dressage tests default to having a transition as the first sequence of the first movement. For now, we can leave this as it is. Create a new proceed to point action and set it to proceed to point V. Next, add in a third sequence and change the sequence type to a pace transition using the button in the top left-hand corner of the panel. Change the transition to pace pull down so that it reads collected walk. Change the make transition pull down so that it reads at point. In the point text box, enter the letter E. On the diagram, you will see that a connecting line between V and E is automatically added, and that an annotation telling you what the transition is also added to the diagram. Other than the speech bubble, with the transition at point, you won't be able to see the results of the change on the diagram just yet. However, we'll now add another path to our movement, and we'll be able to see the difference in the diagram. So, add in a fourth sequence, leave it as a proceed to point, and add the letters H, C, and M. As we can see in the line that gets drawn, we can see that the change of pace has now taken effect and that our new path has a blue dotted line on the diagram. Okay, let's explore some of the other transition types that are included in visual dressage. First, let's create a new movement so that we don't overcrowd our demonstration diagram. Click your mouse in the space to the right of the central panel. Now change sequence number 1 of this second movement to be a pace transition using the button in the top left. This time, set the transition to pace to free walk. Instead of transition at point, choose transition between points. Enter B into the point text box. The program will draw the two different lines, portraying the two different paces on either side of the transition. The program also knows that the last action happened in the previous movement at point M and that you have just asked for the transition to end at point B. Therefore, it knows to draw the transition halfway between these 2 points, at point R. If you wanted to explicitly state which points you want the transition to happen between, simply add the second point to the text box. For example, enter B, P. Transitioning before point is done exactly the same way as a transition between points. To quickly demonstrate this, we'll simply change the pull down to before point. You can see that the two lines are still drawn and we have an annotation which reads before rather than between. Finally, let's look at a transition on a circle. Create another movement, so as before, click the space to the right of the diagram, change the sequence to a pace transition and select collected walk as the pace we want to transition to. Where it says make transition, choose on circle. Creating circles is its own subject, so please watch the visual dressage tutorial on circles for a more detailed guide. However, for now we'll simply choose the following options to demonstrate a transition on a circle. We'll set a direction of right and a diameter of 10 meters. Next, we'll set the rotations to full turn and the point to L. In a similar way to transition between points, visual dressage has drawn 2 separate lines to portray the before and after aspect of each pace, along with an annotation at the halfway point. As with any of the transition types, once a pace has been set with a transition on a circle, then any subsequent actions will continue to use the pace that you have defined. We can demonstrate this by quickly adding a path. We'll insert another sequence to the movement, scroll down to view it, and set the point to V. We can see that the new path adopts the dotted blue line, which denotes a collected walk. Thank you for watching this tutorial. Please see our website for more tutorials.